Are you ramping up to start a boutique and you're just doing your research and you stumbled upon this? Good. I want you to start off on the right foot. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you all the things that right now are working and what is not working. This is important. What makes me uniquely qualified to talk about this? Well, first of all, I worked for 7 years in corporate retail merchandising in New York City for big brands that you know. Then I started my own boutique. And since I closed that boutique in 2016, I've been consulting boutique owners from just starting up all the way up to $10 million a year in revenue. And there's a lot of patterns I've seen having been in the industry this long. So I'm not calling myself old, but we're getting there. Okay, so I see boutiques fail all the time. I see them close. And if you're coming to this saying well, I think I'm in a failing situation, I'm already there failing, still stay tuned because there is time to pivot your business and there is adjustments that you can make right now that will really fix where you're going. So a couple weeks ago, I was on a group coaching call and someone said to me, Emily, it's crazy. We started our boutique. A bunch of boutiques popped up around us. They have a brick and mortar in Long Island and everyone's gone now. We're the only ones left. And I said, okay, this sounds crazy, but why do you think they went out of business? And they said, well, none of them did what you say is the most important thing to do when you start a boutique, which is have good margins. If you are not committed to either finding cheaper wholesale items or marking things up appropriately, and I'm talking 3 times markup, you will not be successful. I'm just going to say that right now because the problem most people see is they see these really big boutiques who do huge volume charging different prices than maybe someone smaller would. Now, that's okay because they have volume. They have thousands and thousands of customers. But when you're first starting out in your boutique, you don't have that. So you have to make as much money on every single sale as possible, meaning that the only way we make money is through selling merchandise. And the amount of money we make is dependent on the difference between the wholesale cost and the retail price of that item. So the bigger that gap, the more money you're going to make. The smaller that gap, the quicker you'll go out of business. And I'm not kidding. It's true. I watched it happen over and over and over. You're probably saying to me, Emily, but how do I find cheaper stuff? How do I find these things I can get high margins on? Well, why are we talking about margins before we talk about who's your ideal customer? Who are you going to sell to? What's your idea behind your store? Because if you want to join boutique land and you don't have a clear vision of who you are and who your customer is, you also will fail. There's so many people that get into the game. They just want to sell a bunch of cheap stuff out of their garage. And that's fine, but that's not long-term success. If you're here, you most likely want to be in business for 3, 5, 10 years. I want to help you do that. Now, starting with a strong point of view can be really scary for a lot of people because you're putting yourself out there. You're saying, this is my style. This is what I stand for. This is what I want to sell. But it is the fastest way to gain that ideal customer who says, oh my gosh, I love that style too. I want to dress just like she does. So cute. Again, I think you need to have a clear vision. Now, I have someone in a group program and she was like, I want to have a witchy vibes, Halloween. Great. We love it. Talk about potions and lotions and all these things. Go hard into that niche. Maybe you love NASCAR and you're like, I want to have a NASCAR themed boutique. Yes. Go deep into that niche. Okay. That is okay. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being so niche down. And here's the other thing. You also can niche down with just what season you sell or what you're selling. So if you're in Florida or you're in Arizona, maybe you sell only beachwear or desert style, desert wear. You are allowed to have a strong point of view, and that's what actually makes you stand out from the crowd. There's too many people starting boutiques, and not only do they not have a point of view, they're selling what they think other people are doing well with, or they're selling what they call dupes, which I am so I am so over the dupe business. Like if I see another person say they have a Stanley Cup dupe, like we get it. People love Stanley Cups, but like we're over it. Like everyone has their Stanley Cup, move on. The thing is too, is like, why are you copying Stanley Cups? Like just let people buy the Stanley or buy it off Amazon and buy a fake one off Amazon. That's a person who thinks about quick money. And that's not who I want to teach. If you're in that situation and you've been like, I'm selling Stanley dupes, Emily, stop. First of all, if you sell anything that has a logo, a Disney character, anything licensed on it, or that anything that looks like something else that's already for sale by a big brand, stop selling it immediately. You will get shut down. You will get like lawsuits. Like we've seen crazy things happen in boutique land with people literally getting sued for selling certain belts with certain G's on them or things that say CC on them. You can't do that. And also, it's just kind of cheap. Like, don't bother. Sell your own stuff. Sell your own style. If you can go to LA and you can go to some markets and you can shop other places other than just Fashion Go, Fair, and online spots, you're going to have a better go at it because you'll be able to connect with different vendors and you'll be able to find more unique pieces. Not everything that vendors sell is online. So when you make the effort to go to these markets, go to these shows, go to LA, you're going to find different things. And having a point of view and that perspective on what it is you're excited to sell is not only going to narrow your assortment, it's going to make you stand out in the crowd. It's going to drive your marketing and it's going to do the job for you. Like people who have a clear point of view don't call me saying I'm struggling with sales. They call me and they say, how do I double my business? And I'm like, great, let's go. So if you're out there, you're selling basic stuff, you think you can last on that, like, I just want to tell you, you've got to pivot to something more unique. And like, just to loop that back to the like margin and charging enough conversation, you can inherently charge more for things that are more unique. That's it. So if you're worried that you can't charge enough, go find more unique things that people can't find anywhere else. And trust me, those things exist, okay? Not everyone is shopping on Temu or Shein or Amazon. Give people a reason to shop with you because you're finding unique stuff that they aren't finding in those places. You're doing it in a way that feels more personalized, that feels more fun, that feels more like they're a part of a community. All of those things are going to help you be successful as a boutique owner. Now, if you're new and you're looking for resources to get inventory and you're like, Emily, you're saying all these places and I don't know what you're talking about, that's okay. I've created a free 18-page inventory guide. It's all about where to buy inventory, my strategies, and all that jazz. And it's free. And it has vendors. Don't buy vendor lists. Like, I'll give you mine. All you have to do is go to boutiquetrainingacademy.com/inventory. And maybe while you're there, you'll check out some of my courses, some of my programs. I have a really great program called Boutique Basics Bootcamp. For anyone that is starting up, it's an amazing class. We've had over 1,300 boutique owners go through it. Now, when you're starting your boutique, you obviously need to do marketing on social media. Maybe you have a website. Most likely you want to start an online boutique if you're here watching. We know that about 50% of our students and our clients are online boutiques only. And that's okay. There's still room for you. I want you to know that. Here's what happens though with most online boutiques is that they go on the vendor website and they download the stock image of the item, which you can do. It's free. It's once you've bought an item, you can absolutely do that. But here's what happens. Your picture looks like 100 other boutiques because you're using all the same picture. So you don't stand out. You don't get to style it in a way that's cool, that works for your customer. You don't get to take great pictures with a great backdrop. And maybe you're sitting here saying, Emily, I'm not a photographer. I don't like paying a photographer is so expensive. Okay, stop. We know that you need to have your own photos. That's like a no-brainer. If you're going to jump into the boutique industry and you're not going to take your own photos, please don't start, okay? Like it is so much better for you to have your own pictures, even if you're doing something like drop shipping. Like you want to get a sample, you want to take a picture, and that's really important because your picture will stand out from the crowd. So how do we make taking pictures easier? One, we get a good phone. Most phones take incredible pictures these days. Two, we get some lighting. We buy a ring light on Amazon I'll link my resources for the lights that I love to use down below. And you also need a tripod and maybe a clicker, or you could just take videos. But here's the deal. You can take your own photos, whether that's a mirror selfie or you set up a tripod, just like I have right in front of me, a tripod of a video camera, and that's shooting me. And I'm going to publish this out to the world. Like if I didn't make videos with my face, you wouldn't know who I was. You wouldn't care about my business. You wouldn't care about what I have to say because I'm hiding behind something. And that's what happens when you use stock photos. It feels like you're hiding, whether you mean to or not. It feels like you're not a real website, which we know that you're real. We know that you're a real person, but customers don't know that. And that's what's most important. Once you get someone to your website, getting them to buy is your job. But getting them to buy off stock photos is incredibly difficult. So if you're watching this video and you're still using stock videos, stop right now, gain some inner confidence, like put on the clothes, set up a light, and try to take pictures. That is my best advice. Trying to work with a photographer can be very sticky, it can be expensive, and the turnaround time is really slow. The minute you take that picture, you can post it on Instagram, on Facebook, in an email newsletter. You can move quicker. And being able to move quickly is part of what's going to make you successful in a boutique business. So hopefully all of these tips have helped. If you have more questions, comments, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I always love hearing, and I try to answer every single comment within like a week or so, or sooner, hopefully. And if you're new to me and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe. I've been coming out with videos quite consistently, and I'd love to have you here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.